Hi, I'm Evan English from Old English Outfitters. Today we're going to talk about the top selling rifles for 2019. Last year we did a top 5 video. We did top 5 best selling rifles of 2018, and we're redoing that video, updating it for this year. We spent a little more time doing some research this year than last year. We looked at many different SKUs or item numbers that were of the same items, so that when we had, for instance, when we were looking at one item that came in a package with one thing and it came in another SKU that had just a very slightly different variation, those are all counted as one. So as we're looking at our numbers, we did a bit more research. We also looked at dollars sold so that we could rank them both ways. But this, for the sake of this video today, we're talking about the top selling rifles in quantity sold for our location in Southwest Ohio. So some of the things you're going to see are very specific to our market area. And as we walk through those, I'll explain them as well. Coming in at number 5. Somewhat of a refreshing addition to the mix in rifles is the Henry Classic lever. The Henry Classic lever is a simple, straightforward 22 lever action. It's been very popular for several years, continues to be a good seller, but as we were looking at the numbers for this year, it broke the top 5. Just barely broke into the top 5. Believe it has a 16-inch barrel, lever action. They're consistent performers, not only in the sales room, but out on the range. People love these rifles. So number 5, the Henry Classic lever 22 long rifle. Number 4, also a 22 rifle, is the Smith & Wesson M&P 1522. The M&P 1522 is a AR-15 clone, or a modern sporting rifle clone in a rimfire. Also very popular because they're fun to shoot, because they're adaptable in length of pull for different ages and different sizes by just adjusting the carbine stock. So 22 long rifle. This has got the M-LOK forend that they come with now. So it is the M&P 1522 Sport 22 long rifle. Number 3. Number 3 is no stranger to this countdown. Last year it was in our top 5 as well, and it wasn't a surprise to anyone. As we looked at the rifles, there was a lot of AR-style rifles in the top 5. That was part of the reason we looked very closely at our numbers this year. This is a consistent performer, again, both in the showroom and on the range, and that's why it comes into the top 5. The Ruger, this is their basic AR-556. It has got the standard carbine stock, standard forend, the regular post front sight. Comes with the flip-up rear sight as well, and it has been a top seller now for the second year. This one comes in at number 3. It actually is number 2 in dollars sold, based on the price point of it versus the next one above it. So even though it comes in at number 3 in units sold, it comes in at number 2 in dollar sales. Number 2. Number 2, and this is where it gets a bit more specific to our market area. If we're looking at the Savage Axis in 350 Legend. 350 Legend is a new caliber. It was brought out by Winchester this year, but Ruger and Savage also have rifles in it. There have been some modern sporting rifles or AR types that have come out in that caliber. Those are much smaller quantities because they're much more pricey. But this Savage Axis, and the one that is the best seller, is the one that comes with a scope package on it. It's got a Weaver 3-9 scope on it. It's mounted and bore sighted from the factory. I'm I'm going to say somewhat. We double check every one of those because sometimes they need a little bit of tweaking to be on paper when people take them out to the range. But the Savage itself has been a top seller. They also make this in stainless, so the stock is the same, but the action and the barrel are stainless. For a little more money, they also make it left-handed, so you'll have the bolt coming off of this side for the left-hander, so it's on the opposite side. So all of this together, the best seller is the XP, or the scoped version, and that's the one that, again, has the Weaver 3-9 scope on it, but you add a few units each of these others, and it makes it, again, very strong number 2 in 350 Legend. Anyone looking for a straight wall hunting cartridge for the states that require straight wall in their shotgun or muzzleloader areas, this is, and you'll come back to our previous reviews. We did a review on the Ruger American. We have been amazed at how well this performs on the range, how accurate it is, and how pleasant it is to shoot. 350 Legend is, I don't want to oversimplify it, but if you look at it, you'll swear that it's a 223 or 5.56 that has just been blown out to straight wall. It fits in a AR magazine just fine, and they do make some AR copies in that caliber for hunting. But the Savage Axis, not the Axis 2, this is a standard Axis with the original trigger. And for instance, right now, one of the reasons this is selling so well is because this base model with no scope sells in the low threes, I believe around $339. The one with the scope isn't much more, maybe $10 to $20 more. And then on top of that, Savage came out with a $75 rebate for the month of November in 2019, and that just ramped the sales straight up. So as we're looking at good hunting rifles, it's great to see a good hunting rifle in the top 3. Coming in at number 2, the Savage Axis, especially in the scope package. Before we do number 1, I want to say honorable mention. We do this in our other video as well. I mentioned 350 Legend being a very strong contender. This is one of the Ruger American versions, 350 Legend and 450 Bushmaster, because of straight wall cartridges being good hunting cartridges in Ohio. These have been strong contenders, definitely worthy of honorable mention because of that, because of the unit numbers. If we were to add all of the SKUs, all the variations and the calibers, I'm sure that it would break into the top 5. But again, we keep it with style and caliber being the same. It just made honorable mention this year. This is a camo version of the Ruger American. We reviewed one very similar to this earlier in the year. We've been very happy with it. Another honorable mention, I can only mention it because we don't have one to show you. Due to the announcement that Colt made earlier in the year that they were not going to sell to the commercial market, every Colt AR or M4, like their model number that's very, very popular is the LE6920, any variation of that sold off the shelves. Anything that was in the pipeline just got sucked out of the pipeline. So I don't have one even to show you today, but the Colt M4 was an honorable mention based on quantity sold and on dollars sold because of Colt's announcement. They weren't selling that great before the announcement, but all you got to do is say, hey, we're not going to sell these to the consumers anymore, and they're going to sell very quickly. So they said that was temporary. We're hoping they bring it back to the public, but as of right now, it made honorable mention just by selling out of the stock that we had. Number 1 was no stranger to last year's countdown. It is Smith & Wesson MP15 Sport 2. It is the standard variation with the carbine stock, round fore-end, post front sight, flip up rear sight. So the features are very similar to the Ruger AR-556. They've again been very strong contenders, both and strong sellers in the showroom. People have been very happy, so customer satisfaction's been high. Price point is low, so they've been in the around 500 to mid 500, depending on what package they come in. This exact rifle has come in a couple different packages this year with added value, where they give you a magazine loader, or they'll give you an extra case, a case to go with it, or an optic. So again, exact same rifle, just under a different product number with a couple of extra added value items with it. Those all come together to make this one our #1 seller of 2019. Smith & Wesson M&P 15 Sport 2.